Hello, my name is Caleb, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the megastructure, the Burj Khalifa. The Burj Khalifa is exactly 2,722 feet tall to the top of its spire. For context, this is 320 meters taller than the second tallest building in the world. The building is located in Dubai and is a mixed-use facility that utilizes 160 stories, equating to 3.3 million square feet. The idea for the building was conceived by Emaar, a notable property developer in Dubai. They wanted to build the Burj to help further proclaim Dubai as a financial center of the world. The exact cost of the Burj is kept secret. However, architects and even Emaar have alluded to a total cost around $1.5 billion. This money was financed by 3 banks. Financing was made a little easier by the fact that 90% of sellable space in the building was sold before the building was even built. The participants in the project were Emaar, the world-renowned architect Skidmore, Owings & Merrill based in Chicago, a construction manager, Turner, 3 general contractors, and over 70 other subcontractors and consultants. The delivery method was described as an integrated project delivery method. I'm not completely familiar with this method, but know it involves a joint contract between the designer, construction companies, and owner. To my knowledge, the CM and architect were chosen based on qualifications. The general contractors and subcontractors then bid on the actual construction of the project. They still, however, were involved very early in the process before the design was finished to help with constructability aspects of the design. This could be done as they were bidding a cost-plus rate and not a lump sum. This delivery method allowed a team approach to risk and rewards. It also required heavy involvement of the owner to coordinate everything. This is the reason I believe a construction manager was hired to coordinate in place of the owner. The delivery method also allowed efficient communication between all parties involved. In this case, a communication software called Prjoect was used to keep all of the companies on the same page. As mentioned earlier, the contract with the contractors for the project was a cost-plus contract. So when the bidding happened, the winner was the company that would do the project at the lowest price above cost. There were also incentives built in. I could not find what the specific incentives were, however I would assume they had to do with finishing the project ahead of schedule. Additionally, I would assume any incentives earned would have been split between all parties because of the integrated project delivery method structure. I could not find any indications of a GMP either. However, I find it hard to believe that the contract would have been signed by the owner without one. In terms of specifics of the deal, I was only able to find that the architect's fee was around 3% of the total project cost. This seems lower than normal, but could make sense considering the massive overall cost of the project. One interesting thing that I learned in terms of the project delivery is that the pile foundation was in the ground before the height of the building was determined. The architect said they started at a conservative height of just 10 meters higher than the previous tallest building in the world because they did not want to promise something they could not deliver. However, once they crunched the numbers, the design kept growing until the height topped off at 828 meters, as they calculated the foundation would easily be able to hold this weight. This drastic change was made possible by the integrated project delivery method and the contracts that were not in lump sum formats. However, it was weird to me, and I didn't really understand why the foundation seemed to be so over-engineered for the first design, unless the architects already assumed they would be growing the design in the future. One interesting scheduling challenge of the project was that the company under contract to build the facade went out of business during the project, probably because of the recession. This put the facade 18 months behind schedule. Once a new company took the contract, they built a dedicated facility for this project in Dubai and were able to get through the design phase and construct panels for testing within 4 months. This apparently kept the building schedule on track. The facade task must not have been on the critical path at first. However, after the delay, it probably was. The construction managers were definitely aware of this, and this is probably why the task was expedited so quickly. This demonstrates a fundamental concept that schedules are dynamic. One CM on the project even joked that during this phase, he would have liked to sit on top of the tower with a telescope pointed at the facade facility and call them and tell them to get to work if he ever saw them stop working. So the total project cost was $1.5 billion, and the total project construction only took about 6 years. If you're like me, you're thinking this is very cheap and fast. Well, there are a few reasons for this. Unfortunately, the workers on the project were treated very poorly. First of all, there was no minimum wage, and some workers reported pay as low as $10 per day. Additionally, the government in Dubai wanted the project done as fast as possible so it could bring money to the city. Thus, they imposed very little labor regulations. This led to migrant workers having terrible conditions. In some cases, passports were taken so workers couldn't leave the country before the project was done. One fall death was reported by Emaar. However, some resort resources suspected more happened due to heat exhaustion and suicide. Ultimately, although not built in the most ethical manner, the Burj Khalifa is a modern engineering marvel that is known around the world. Thank you for watching.